bullying, suicide, because there is at least one child that are affected by all these things in a classroom. In a classroom of 40 kids, there's one depressed, one suicidal, one being abused, and that's the minimum. There's probably many. The kids who go through this need to have representation, and people who can be allies who aren't in it but can help need to be exposed to it. But do it with factual educators. So hate groups cloak themselves in words and logos about Moms for Liberty, protect the children, child grooming. Like, we don't want child grooming. If you're protecting your children from the realities of life, choosing not to educate them about vital information, trying to control what information they have access to because it doesn't line up with your beliefs, I have a pretty good idea who the real groomer is here. And it's not the educator. Parents who want to control every bit of knowledge their child is exposed to, who doesn't want their kid exposed to helpful education, is indoctrinating their children. Not talking about something is indoctrination. We call it erasing. Book bans need to be illegal. Everyone has a right to read whatever books they want, even if they're not factual, but even then, write books that are factual. States that erase queer people need to be exposed. These people need to lose their jobs. They need to be fired. They need to be voted out. Because real groomers, real indoctrinators parade themselves around as protect the children, protect the family. That's what a groomer looks like. Because groomers cloak themselves in social and religious correctness. Good parents teach their kids about queer people. They teach kids not to be homophobic, not to erase people. They teach kids, regardless of orientation, the history of different groups, the good, the bad, and the ugly history. When you can't teach critical race theory, kids, especially white kids growing up, will never understand why different races always seem to be fighting. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to take accountability for their enabling of racism. And until every classroom teaches racism, teaches the history of homophobia and transphobia, we will never be an equal society. Parents need to be exposed for indoctrinating their children. Children must be exposed to every factual, helpful option for education. Because in real life, abuse isn't age appropriate. Bullying isn't age appropriate. Death in families isn't age appropriate. Nothing in life ever adjusts itself to be age appropriate. And 1 out of 4 girls in a classroom is afraid to go home because somebody is abusing them. I would say 1 out of 4 kids in class go home to a homophobic environment, and they may or may not be straight. Just because your child isn't bisexual doesn't mean they should not know what it is and what biphobia is. church teaches parents as children to erase everyone that isn't the sterile, heterosexual image that religious people worship. And it's costing kids their mental health, half their lives, sometimes their life. And we need to call out people who do this. Because these are the groomers. These are the indoctrinators. Get them while they're young. Teachers don't have time for agendas or indoctrination. And I've met a lot of teachers in person. They don't have time to indoctrinate your children. They're doing your job for you. Most parents out there, they're doing their job for you because you won't. Children will lose. Children are going to lose out on being a well-rounded, educated, tolerant ally for people who do struggle with these things. Because when one person in society struggles with it, we all struggle with it, just in different ways. And any child who grows up in a home that is silent, erases, or worse, is homophobic, you just doubled your chances that a child will be homophobic because they've never been taught how to be a good, tolerant person. Because biphobia, transphobia, xenophobia is taught. You don't come into the world being a raving racist. You're taught by either silence or intentional parenting. And hopefully, someday churches will call parents out for their negligence. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I mean, we can strive toward there. And groups that want to take children away from learning about vital history, discrimination, racism, homophobia are hate groups. And some of their leaders are harming your children. Because the people who scream the loudest about family values and godly marriage are monsters. Just check their search history. You'll find some really interesting information.